Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Canada, you know we love you. In Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful October the 5th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, it's Friday, and I had to tip in early on some of those adult rehydration beverages because it's been such a challenging week.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through the show with you, but, just ring a bell if I fall asleep.
Well, as long as you're not apprehended by Buford T. Justice, then I think you'll be fine, Big C. You good old boys, we know you late in the night, you guys do a lot of work, and so much happening in the sports universe outside of people plagiarizing and calling every show the universe. Big C, I hear it all over the mothership. But I'm telling you, there's a lot going on. We have Big C's football, Friday Night Lights. We love high school football. That's where it all began, with the good old boys strapping them up for their high schools all over this great country of ours. Some big college football games coming up this weekend. NFL is always great. NBA is trying to make some noise, and it's just preseason, Big C. And, of course, the NFL is always great. But first, I want to say this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. Big C, have you ever heard of good old boys? They put hot sauce on everything. I know some people got hot sauce on pancakes. They got hot sauce, of course, on deep-fried frisk. But what's your favorite thing to put hot sauce on, Big C? Your thoughts?
So, I'm not a hot sauce fan. I can't say that about my kids. My daughter put hot sauce on potato chips.
Wow.
I look at her like she's crazy. I like the real chilies when I'm putting stuff on. Give me some jalapenos mixed into the meal that I'm having, Charlton.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the sauce, because I like the taste.
You like to taste real food? Is that what you're trying to say, Big C? I tell you what, we have a lot going on in the sports universe. I do want to make sure that we pay homage to the high school football players all over this great country. And we have what's called Friday Night Lights all over this country, high school football. And a lot of people, they talk about where do they play the game the best. It doesn't matter where. All that matters is that we put a lot of time and energy in making sure high school kids have something positive. Number one, St. John Bosco, Bellflower, California, out of Southern California, Big C. Number two, Mater Dei. They were the national champions from last year, and they're also undefeated this year. They had the biggest game of the year so far, knocking off IMG Academy out of Florida. Big C. Number three is Allen, Texas. Now, Texas that's where the big, used to be called the Red Rivalry, what, the Red River Rivalry, Big C? Now it's called the Shootout with Oklahoma and Texas. Give me your thoughts on Texas football and how it starts big in Texas, very heavily recruited by Oklahoma and Texas. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it has always been one of the hotbeds of high school football. When you look around the state of Texas, they have high school stadiums in that state, Charlton, that rival some of the smaller college stadiums around the country.
Yeah.
And fans have always lived for the game. When you think about Texas, it was mainly about farming and open ranges until the time that people got a chance to get together was on Friday night.
Yeah.
When all the kids and families and everybody got together, Charlton. And high school just became an event.
Yep.
When you look at it, the sparsity of the state as far as land mass versus people.
Yeah.
And when you were able to get together and everybody had a commonality, Charlton, and you, regardless of whatever cultural divide you had that commonality of high school football, which drew so many people together, Charlton, over the decades. And it's still as big as ever in the state of Texas.
Yeah, it's one of the things that they love so much down in the great state of Texas. I was talking to a friend of mine named Bill. We were just talking about who plays the best football, California or Texas. But it's all good. I want to say also for the good old boys in the Northeast, you look at St. John's of Washington, D.C. You have number 5, Central High School of Miami, Florida. Number 6, IMG Academy out of the Sunshine State. Number 7, St. Francis Academy out of Maryland. And number 8, Lake Travis out of Texas. And rounded out by number 9, Centennial, Corona, California, and number 10, Concord de La Salle out of Northern California. That program has won 27 section championships in a row. The last time they lost a section championship, Big C, was 1991. And they play the toughest schedules in all of California. So congratulations to all of our good old boys out there playing Friday Night Football on Big C Sports Friday Night Lights. Big C, I know there's this fight going on. And there's a fight down in Vegas again. And I know this Russian fighter is amazing. He's undefeated. But I look at Conor McGregor. You know, Dana White's a genius when it comes to promotion. And Conor McGregor hasn't fought a fight in 2 years. So when you look at Khabib, he's undefeated. I don't think he's ever been behind in any fight. They said he even fought some cubby bears, some teddy bears. You got deep fried teddy bears down south, Big C. You guys, is that a delicacy, Big C? Your thoughts?
Put Charlton, anything on hooves is a meal potentially down here in the South.
Yeah.
And so there has been some bear on the plate periodically, Charlton. So we don't discriminate when it comes to red meat. You have to understand that.
That's why
when you look at this Khabib McGregor fight, Charlton, in Vegas this weekend, this is the biggest fight, MMA 229, that they've had in some time.
Yeah.
And people still call Conor McGregor the face of the MMA, Charlton.
Why?
Even though he hasn't had a competitive fight in the past couple of years, his last great opponent was that bus at Madison Square Garden when he was throwing his hands from it.
Yeah.
You know, and he kind of lost that fight. So he's lost his last two fights.
Yeah.
But when you look at Khabib, Charlton, he actually lives out there in your neighborhood in San Jose, California.
Yeah.
He's actually a resident of that area. But he has not lost in 26 fights, Charlton. That is a record for the MMA, to have never lost a fight and being in a championship fight, Charlton. And in actuality, he's never lost a round.
Yeah.
So not has he ever lost a fight, Charlton, he's never lost a round. So when you talk about McGregor being up for the biggest challenge of his professional career, and we know what happened the last time he was in the ring, and he had to dance around for 10 rounds with Mayweather until he couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
But now this is going to be constant pressure from Khabib in this fight, Charlton.
Yeah.
You will see a true battle. And I think I got to find somebody that I can get the code to the fight so I can watch.
Yeah, you're one of the honest guys out there. Nobody's paying for this fight. All the fools are paying for the fight. But I know you got a lot of people that got the high-tech security systems, and they know how to plug into different things. I even watched I'm not going to say all my stuff, but I understand what you mean. What's they call Will Smith in that movie with Gene Hackman? Was it Enemy of the State?
Enemy of the State.
They showed us how you can do things. In fact, I think this weekend the federal government had an emergency alert to hack everybody's phones and reset how they can monitor where everybody is in the sports universe. I want to ask you a thought, though. When we think about Vegas, you think about Dana White now. He's not Don King. Don King was maybe more respected, but I think Dana White has made a lot more money than Don King. In fact, there's some thoughts that Don King was even trying to get Dana White to partner with him, and Dana said, no, I'm good, Big C. But give me your thoughts on why a guy who hasn't fought in almost 2 years, the last time we saw him fight, he was knocked out by Floyd Money Mayweather in a fight where Mayweather beat him up so bad he didn't even get his hands up in the round when they stopped it. I think the 9th, 10th round they stopped it. McGregor really hadn't thrown a punch since he was beaten up by Floyd Money Mayweather, and he didn't even lift his hands or throw a punch in the last round that he lost. What makes him such a hot commodity, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, what makes him a hot commodity is when you talk about Dana White. Dana White has created an industry, a worldwide industry. What Don King was involved in, he came into, Charlton. Boxing was already there when Don King showed up, and it's existed since Don King has left.
Yeah.
But Dana White is the godfather of the MMA. He creates the fighters, Charlton.
Yeah.
He creates the fights. He creates the hoopla, Charlton. He's there at every press conference, Charlton. He is the mainstay. He is that guru. He's the cause.
Yeah.
And when he brings somebody back in, because he had fired McGregor.
Yeah.
They had a tip. But he realized that they both needed each other from a financial perspective.
Yeah.
He has made everybody a lot of money. Dana Wood in the MMA is like Tiger Woods in golf, Charlton.
Yeah.
Everybody needs it.
Yeah.
He's been around. He took a fledgling industry, Charlton, and made it a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yeah.
That's how savvy he is as a businessman. So he's not going to cut off the hand that feeds him, Charlton. He will let guys go out there in the wasteland, and they will realize that they have to come back to him if they want to remain successful in that particular industry, Charlton. So I give Dana White all the kudos in the world, Charlton, for being the ultimate genius in the sport, in the modern sports world, Charlton.
Yeah, I think he is amazing. Anyone that can take a sport business, and it gave a lot of people a job. I mean, there are people lining up around the block to get beaten up in a fight. Where have you seen that since back in the day when somebody was playing dice game, Big C? There's some guys you don't miss.
Look at it from this perspective, Charlton. Think about how many fledgling football leagues have come along in the past couple of decades.
Yeah.
And look at what Dana White has done, Charlton. He has looked at the model of all of those things. He looked at the model of the WWF with Jim McMahon.
Yep.
He's looked at the model of the NFL, how it sustained itself. He's looked at the model of the NBA and Major League Baseball, Charlton.
Yeah.
He took the best of all of those four major sports in America, Charlton, and made his one sport. He knew what boxing was lacking, was consistency. Consistent action. Boxing, it became boring. So he created a sport where you had to have continuous action, Jonathan, where you couldn't dance around for 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. That these fights were 5 rounds or less, Jonathan, and you only had 3 minutes to make your point to your opponent.
Yeah, I think the man has done an amazing job, and he's taken a sport it really gave a lot of guys hope, because unlike boxing, you got to really be skilled. A lot of boxers, they're very skilled. A lot of MMA guys, they're multiple sports, jiu-jitsu, and whether it's taekwondo, karate, kung fu, all that stuff, you can mix it all into one like a fighting gumbo machine. So no matter what happens in Vegas, McGregor wins whether he wins or loses the fight. It doesn't make any sense for him to win this fight. I wonder if Vin Rames is down in Las Vegas tonight, Big C. You know that story we told about Vin Rames told Punch, you go down in the 4th round, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I don't know if this one will even make it to 4 rounds, Charlton. We're talking about a battle royale.
Yeah.
You're talking about 2 guys with genuine hate. You're going into this fight, Charlton, to inflict pain and punishment.
Yeah.
You're not going in there looking for longevity. You want to take your opponent out as quick as possible. Because in these type of fights, Charlton, it doesn't take but one punch to eliminate your opponent. So you don't want to dance around, let him gain confidence, Charlton. You want to take it out early. I don't see this fight going more than 2 rounds, Charlton.
Well, it's definitely going to be a fight that you got to sit down early. Don't go to the restroom, because if you go to the restroom, you might not see the end of it. We do wish.
I'm not going to the restroom, and I'm not paying for it, but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah. Well, don't even go to the restroom when you're watching, Big C. But I love your cable subscription service. You got to find a way to share that with everybody else in the country, Big C. In the world of Major League Baseball, we love the hunt for October. And people were calling it the hunt for Red October, Big C, just because of the Boston Red Sox were so hot going into this. And I wanted to say congratulations to Colorado and Chicago and what they've done. And then the Yankees beat Oakland, and so they're going to be playing their nemesis, the Red Sox. Tonight's game in Boston, you have the New York Yankees at the Boston Red Sox. Sale is 12-4 starting. And I just want to get your thoughts. I think New York might be playing better baseball. Maybe people don't see that, but to see what they did to Oakland's pitching, I know Boston's good too. But they seem like they were on the hot streak going into it because they had to be, Big C. Your thoughts?
But, Charlton, they were chasing Boston all year long. Boston set out at a torrid pace at the beginning of the season, Charlton, and never looked back. That's something that you like when you have a dominant team, Charlton.
Yeah.
Is that you know that you're ahead, you won the division, but you still don't take your foot off the throat of your opponent.
Yeah.
And that's what I like in Boston. New York just has that market where people understand baseball.
Yeah.
Whether it's television market, Charlton, whether it's the local market, everybody understands and appreciates baseball that's affiliated with New York. And ironically, Major League Baseball thinks of the Yankees as their hub.
Yeah.
When you look at the dominance that they've had over the decades, Charlton, almost 30 World Series championships in their history, this is what the fans look for.
Yep.
They look for the big market enthusiasm. They look for the knowledgeable fan. And they look for players who perform under those bright lights, Charlton, when it gets to this time of the season.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to see a team that they recognize. I mean, we got some teams that are in the playoffs this year, Charlton,
Yep.
that have not been major market teams, haven't been big draws when it comes to television.
I agree.
Television wants the Yankees in there, Charlton. Major League Baseball wants the Yankees in. But they will settle for the Red Sox because they're just as good a draw when it comes to national television.
That's a very good point, Big C. I also want to get your thoughts on, L.A. had a fortunate start last night when they knocked off Atlanta. And then they're playing again tonight. And I like what you said yesterday. You said don't start Kershaw. Well, tonight, Kershaw 9-5. He's starting against Atlanta in L.A. That's a 7:35 pitch on Fox Sports 1. Everything's in the driver's seat. But if you're Atlanta, the shining light for Atlanta is Kershaw has not been the Cy Young type of pitcher in the playoffs. He has no history of success when it really counted. If Atlanta's going to win, ironically, he'd be against Kershaw, even though it may not happen, but it might be best hope, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Arians last night for the Dodgers, Charlton, fixed a spectacular game.
Yeah.
Kershaw hasn't been that dominant pitcher. What has happened in him in the playoffs in the past few years, Charlton, when he's coming in off of 3 days rest.
Yeah.
He's a much better pitcher on 4 days rest. Manager Dave Roberts recognized that, Charlton. He said, let me get...
They don't get him some time to rest. So, again, see, when you think about Kershaw, again, just give me your thoughts on what you think. Roberts did a good job resting him on 4 days, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Roberts recognized the struggles that he's had, Charlton, coming off of 3 days rest.
Yeah.
And when he got it under Arians last night, Charlton, and he pitched a spectacular game.
Oh, yeah.
And the hitting was good for the Dodgers. But even more so, Charlton, was the patience at bat.
Yeah.
You think about Atlanta last night, Charlton. They out-hit L.A.
Yeah.
But they had 6 walks for the Dodgers, which made them the advantage, Charlton, last night.
Yep.
They were able to get the runners in scoring position, Charlton, and get them across the plate when they had them in scoring position. And that's the key in baseball. You think about Atlanta. They left 6 runners on base last night, Charlton.
That's too many.
That was the difference in the game.
Yeah.
And when you're not driving people in, Charlton, and the bullpen for the Dodgers last night, Charlton, was spectacular.
Yep.
They came in and they held the Braves in check. And that's what you have to do in the playoffs, Charlton. You don't worry about you got a 162-game season. You got a 5-game season.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
And you need to win 3 of those 5 games, Charlton, during that season. And that's how you utilize your pitching staff, Charlton. Don't worry about, am I going to get to the next round?
Right.
Let me get out of this series first. And that's what Dave Roberts did last night, Charlton.
When you think about another series, Colorado at Milwaukee, it's not a sexy series. You can watch Atlanta and LA. That's a sexy series. Maybe it's sexy if you're in the Midwest, but Colorado at Milwaukee, and right now they're underway. Is that something is that a game, that series? You already mentioned it. Small markets don't really draw that well. Baseball doesn't need them, but it's good to have it spread out. Is that a game that turns you on when you think about a playoff game, Big C, Colorado at Milwaukee?
Well, Charlton, when you look at the enthusiasm that you're getting in that Milwaukee market, Charlton, this is the first time that they've been to this neighborhood in some years.
Yeah.
But the fans have responded, and you think about this. Milwaukee had the best record in the National League this year.
Yeah.
So they were underrated by a lot of people. People started looking at the larger markets thinking that those are the better teams. No, Milwaukee proved their mettle this year, Charlton, by dominating the National League. And not only that, they've been dominating the Rockies in this series. They actually gone up 2-0 tonight, Charlton.
Yep.
So they got a 2-game lead on the Rockies. So the Rockies have to win 3 consecutive games, Charlton, to get out of this series, which I don't think that they're going to do, because when you look at the pitching that the Milwaukee Brewers had in the last week, Charlton,
yeah,
they shut down the Cubs. They've shut down the Rockies, Charlton.
Yeah.
That pitching staff is going out there and not giving up any runs. And it's hard to beat a team when you can't get on base, Charlton.
Yeah, that's what I've discovered myself, Big C. The game that I really want to see, because I like pitching, when I look at Verlander and I look at what he's done with Houston, he's only 16-9. And then Kluber with Cleveland's 20-7. I like Cleveland just because Cleveland, this one's for you. They could use some good luck getting over the LeBron James leaving. And I love to see on top of the hat. But Verlander, he's a shutdown guy. He's almost as solid as Muhammad Ali in the ring back in the day. Give me your thoughts. Does Cleveland have a chance at Houston under the dome to get that win, Big C? Your thoughts?
Charlton, I don't think that they're going to win one in Houston. I mean, the Astros are a dominant team. They were the best team, in the West. And they got overlooked because of those outstanding years that Boston and New York had.
Yeah.
But they also won 100 games, Charlton. You think about it. They won the World Series last year and had a better regular season team this year than what they had last season, Charlton. They went into this first game today, Charlton, and Verlander. I mean, if you have a 1-game series in Major League Baseball, Verlander is the guy that I want.
Yeah.
If it's just a 1-game scenario, Charlton,
yeah,
I want him. He went 6 innings today, Charlton. didn't give up a run in those 6 innings. Actually had a no-hitter going at that time.
Yeah.
Until they pulled him in the 6th, when he let a couple of players on. But they ended up winning that game 7-2.
Yeah.
So it gives them a psychological advantage also, Charlton, because in looking at that game, Cleveland just didn't seem to have any spark.
No.
They knew that they were facing Verlander, and they wanted to get through this game, Charlton, the least unscathed that they could. But Verlander didn't give them a chance, Charlton. He was dominant. The bats from Houston came alive, Charlton. So this is going to be a short and hard series for the Cleveland Indians in this game, Charlton.
Yeah, they need to go back and get Charlie Sheen and Jabu from that movie back in the day when they had I forgot the name of the movie, but Charlie Sheen and Jabu. Major League. I knew you'd know it, Big C. You were part of the cast in that movie. I understand, Big C. You were the guy that they had. You used the voodoo doll, and some guy was saying, "Who's stronger, voodoo or Jesus?" And they were about to fight in the locker room, Big C. That's one of the greatest movies I've seen before it comes to Major League Baseball. I do want to kick the ball into something that we all love: college football. Seeing what happened last week up in Happy Valley. It wasn't so happy when Ohio State finished there doing their business, Big C. But if anyone comes from outside of this country, and Big C Sports is all over the universe, when you watch college football to see what happened in Happy Valley, everybody was into it. Contrast that with Nick Saban saying he's mad at the student body that doesn't make $11 million a year like him, Big C, not coming to the games. Well, maybe they don't have the money to come because the tickets can be very high priced. But even tonight, on a smaller level, BYU, they're actually 3-2 on the season. Utah State's 3-1. That's at BYU. That's a big game in Utah. BYU's favored by only 3. This team knocked off Wisconsin. They were blown out by Washington. Now they're at home. This team, Utah State, almost knocked off Michigan State in the Big Ten. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you got to look at BYU, Charlton, and the game that they played last week at Washington, where they could not muster any offense, and that's why you got the low point spread in this game. But also these in-state rivalry games, Charlton, mean a lot. And the emotion is a keen factor. A lot of these guys know each other, but, BYU is the older of the two teams.
Yeah.
But Utah, you can't underrate that program, Charlton. There in Logan, they've done a marvelous job in moving up to 1A football and challenging the big boys.
No, I really like them. So good luck to both programs there. Big C, I want to get into this Saturday. I know you made me laugh when I was saying, I was asking, why is Alabama on TV against University of Louisiana Lafayette, and they're like a 48-point spread, and they were up by 49, and then they found a way to not cover the spread, so some good boys in Vegas were upset. We have number 1 Alabama. They're 5-0. They're at Arkansas now. Arkansas's only 1-4. That's a noontime ESPN kickoff. Alabama's favored by 35. Now, did Vin Rames give you a call for this game, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlie, you think about the 35 versus the 48.5 last week that they were favored by. They're going to cover the 35 this week, Charlton. I think that Nick Saban, based on his press conference, in talking about the student body, one of the things Nick has to understand is that he has to look at the length of time that he's been there at Alabama, Charlton.
Yeah.
There's a turnover in the student body. Those guys don't stay around as long as Nick Saban does.
Right.
So the enthusiasm that once existed when Alabama wasn't winning, Charlton, all of a sudden they started winning.
Yeah.
It's become old hat now. So people come to expect certain things.
Yeah.
And so they said, we know this is a dog team that they've scheduled, Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah.
The point spread is 49. Why do I want to take my lunch money, and go to the game and not be able to eat this week? That's what a lot of college students look at.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can be insensitive. I remember when I was in college, Top Ramen was a delicacy. Sometimes the newspaper with the ketchup was just to get by, Big C. So for someone to yell at me as a college student for not going to a game to watch a millionaire stand on the sideline and get all that free labor, he might want to, what you say, pump your brakes, Big C. Also, another big game coming up, Oklahoma at Texas. We talked about football, Friday Night Lights, how football is big in Texas. This game is now called the Red River Shootout as opposed to the rivalry, Big C. It used to be the rivalry when they were in the same conference. Oklahoma's 5-0. If they're going to get had, it's going to be this week. They're playing number 20 Texas. Texas is 4-1. That's a Fox kickoff at noontime. OU is favored by 7. Well, Texas just got rid of beating up on USC, and then they went in and they knocked off TCU, two teams that had high hopes coming into the season. this is Texas football national championship game because they're not really expected to compete for a championship. But if they can knock off OU, Big C, that changes things. Now they become a top 12 team somewhere there and there. And then they can start talking national championship Mac Brown days. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charlton, they got to have to look at Ehlinger, the young quarterback that they have there at UT.
Yeah.
He has done a marvelous job this early in the season, Charlton. He's knocked off a couple of teams that people didn't think that he could perform against. They just came off a victory versus Kansas State.
Yep.
But he has been the difference maker in the offense this year, Charlton. You know, they were maligned, but you got to also look at that young secondary that Texas has.
Yeah.
They got some great athletes.
Oh, they're
They've
good.
always had great athletes at Texas.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of the scheme that always hasn't been fitting the players that they have there.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, his biggest test of the year, Charlton.
Yeah.
They just came off a 66-point performance last weekend.
Yeah.
He's one of the top candidates early in the season for the Heisman. But this has been a series, Charlton, that a lot of times the underdog has come in and just knocked off the proverbial favorite.
That's true.
And you think about the last two games, Charlton, that these teams have played, they've only been decided by 5 points.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been any blowouts in this series lately. So this is one that, could come down to the last possession of the game, Charlton.
Yeah, it's a big game to watch, Big C. And just keep in mind, they lost to Maryland. Maryland's 3-1. They're at number 16, Michigan 4-1. That's a noon kickoff on ABC Sports. The Wolverines are favored by 17. Harbaugh has to win, and they got to cover the spread, because if they don't, there's still rumblings in Michigan about, is Harbaugh the right guy? I think he's the right guy. You're not going to win every year when you're competing against Ohio State and Penn State and even Iowa, Wisconsin. But they got to they cannot let what happened in Texas happen in the Wolverines. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Jerry Jones is hoping that they lose the game, but you think about it, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones has Jim Harbaugh on speed dial right now.
Yeah.
He is looking to make a coaching change, and that's the number one guy on his list. Jim Harbaugh at the University of Michigan is the number one guy on Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys list, as far as head coach. But when you look at Michigan's performance last week, Charlton, they trailed almost the entire game against Northwestern.
Yeah.
They had to have a miraculous comeback at the end of the game to pull that one out.
They had Vin Rames call in. Vin Rames called in, Big C.
They haven't had the consistency offensively, Charlton, that you would expect. Maryland, they had that great opening game against Texas, Charlton.
Yep.
They haven't been explosive offensively since then like they were in that first game, Charlton.
Yeah.
But this is a game that's a true challenge for Michigan. Harbaugh can't afford to lose any more games, Charlton, and expect to stay in Michigan much longer.
I agree. And I love what you're saying, and we'll cover that in the NFL about Jerry Jones wanting Harbaugh. Jerry Jones has a quarterback named Prescott. He reminds me a lot of Colin Kaepernick. I think that's the last time Harbaugh was in the Super Bowl. That's good knowledge, Big C. I want to look at Clemson. Clemson wasn't all that impressive. They're number 14. They got by the skin of their teeth knocking off Syracuse. I think Vin Rames also called in that game, Big C. I thought to watch Vin Rames more from Good Old Boys in Pulp Fiction. Let me just get your thoughts. Number 4, Clemson, 5-0. They're at Wake Forest, which is 3-2. 3:30 kickoff ESPN. Clemson favored by 20.5. When a half is on the scoreboard, do they put a half point on the scoreboard, or does that mean Vin Rames might have called in? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when we're looking at the betting line now on all sports, Charlton, betting is more important than just the game.
Yep.
You got to be realistic about it. Fantasy leagues, Charlton, produce so much money.
Oh, yeah.
And the lines in these casinos, Charlton, that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
But when you think about Clemson this week, Charlton, they have to get back on track. They were able to squeak one out against Syracuse, Charlton. And, you got to look at how the situation was with their quarterback.
Yeah.
Can they get Lawrence to play an entire game? Can he play smart? That's the thing. They kept him because he can throw the ball, not run the ball, Charlton. That's the reason why they replaced Bryant with Lawrence, because he was a better thrower.
Yeah.
He needs to realize that within himself, that they made me the starter to throw the ball, to utilize the speed that's on this team. Not to think that I'm faster than anybody else on offense. Maybe an offensive lineman or two. That's about it.
That's about it, yeah.
But, Clemson, will go out and dominate this game, Charlton.
Yep.
And they will cover the spread.
Well, they'll cover the spread. Now, this is a game coming up that used to be one of the biggest games, also must-see TV. When you look at LSU, they're number 6 in the country. They're 5-0. They're at number 4. They're at Florida, which is 4-1. That's a 3:30 kickoff on CBS Sports. LSU is favored by 2 in the Swamp. LSU is a better team than Florida. Being favored by 2 gives me some cause there, some pause. But I hope that Orgeron, just because He's a guy that stands up for all the guys with a raspy voice, Big C. I think LSU might get that one down in the swamp. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think about revitalization of Florida, what they've done down there offensively.
Yeah.
You bring in the former offensive coordinator that worked there under Saban.
Yep.
Not Saban, but Myers.
Yeah.
And he's gotten the job done. Mullen knows how to recruit down in Florida.
Yeah.
They got off to that hiccup start, Charlton, but now, they got the one loss. And they're chasing LSU.
Yeah.
When you look at what Orgeron has done, he's never been embraced. I don't think, Charlton, anywhere he's ever coached.
Nowhere.
He's never been embraced. He's that abrasive individual. He's not that sexy-looking guy. He's like the Drew Brees of college football.
Yeah.
Well, he's winning. He's productive.
Yeah.
But we can't make a commercial with it because nobody can understand.
Nobody can understand him.
I like what LSU is doing, Charlton, with all the talent that they have.
Yeah.
They finally have a quarterback that is used to playing big-time football, Charlton. Been involved in big-time games when he was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And he's brought that moxie to LSU, Charlton, and have them undefeated and ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, they're playing well. Wide, right, wide, left, it doesn't matter. Bobby Bowden had a lot of problems. Florida State beating Miami. The Seminoles are 3-2, and they're a quiet 3-2. Taggart had a lot of people saying he could get him out of there. Now they're 3-2 on the season. They're at number 17, Miami. Miami's 4-1. That's a 3:30 kickoff on ABC Sports. Miami's favored by 13.5. Florida State, this is also like Texas against Oklahoma. This is kind of their national championship game. If they can knock off the Canes, and the Canes can be susceptible, then that makes people at Florida State start feeling better, especially the great Bobby Bowden. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, if Florida State can win this game, this would be a seminal moment. No pun intended.
Yeah.
When you
I like that,
the
Big C.
as you talk about with Taggart,
yeah.
that everybody said he's got to go. He's not the guy for the job. There's still a little bit of talent down in Florida State, Charlton. They have a great quarterback in Francois, who proved his merit last week against Louisville.
Yep.
He's just got to get the rest of the team on that same page. Because athletically, they can compete with Miami. Mark Richt has done a marvelous job of turning that program around, Charlton.
Yep.
He made a change at quarterback last week that added some spark to their offense, Charlton. So this will be a battle for the state of Florida.
Yeah, I look forward to that game. It's good to see good programs on top, and Florida State definitely has that leniency that they want to hold that strong, especially for the people in Florida. I want to go to just a couple of games. San Diego State 3-1 at number 24 Boise State 3-1. Mountain West game at 3:30 kickoff. ESPNU and Boise's favored by 14 points on the blue turf. Iowa 3-1 at Minnesota 3-1 on the Big Ten Network 3:30 p.m. kickoff. Iowa's favored by 7 in that game, Big C. I love what they do with the hospital, and they wave at all the young kids there, but that game's going to be in Minnesota. Number 15. Man, you good up, boys. You guys been paying off the officials or what? Everybody from SEC's top 15. Number 15, Kentucky, 5-0 at Texas A&M, 3-2, 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. And you think about it, A&M's favored by 5 against an undefeated team down there at College Station. We told you about the barbecue in Texas, and sometimes they slide a paper bag to make sure that holding call really is a holding call. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, the odds makers are trying to find out if Kentucky is truly a road warrior.
Yeah.
Those victories are a product of home cooking. And when you're on the road, well, you got that home cooking, and it's marinated in moonshine in Kentucky.
Yep.
So, you get a lot of relaxed people around the party.
Yep, that's funny.
But going down to College Station, I don't know if this A&M team, Charlton, will be all together just based on the antics of Jimbo Fisher.
No one's talked about him.
The media is pushed under the rug, Charlton.
They sure have.
Berating a player on the field, grabbing a face mask
of
a grown man.
Yeah.
Like I said, he survived the incident, but, any other time, Charlton, he may not have made it out of that.
Yep.
And I think that may divide the team somewhat. I don't think that galvanized teams is anymore, Charlton.
No.
Thinking that you can shine a player. He's there to perform. You recruit him as a student athlete.
Yep.
And you're saying that you can abuse him and it's acceptable because you're the coach.
Yeah, that
doesn't work. So I like Kentucky and Stoops in his program in this game, Charles.
Yeah, I think you can lose a team when you start abusing players, even though the media doesn't cover it. Number 9, Auburn 4-1 at Mississippi State 3-2, 7:30 kickoff, ESPN2. Auburn's favored by 3.5. They even have just one loss, and they kind of dropped out of the America's Darling, but they're a number 9 ranked team. But it seems to me that LSU is probably playing better than Auburn football. Just my thoughts coming from the West Coast. speaking of West Coast, we have number 10 Washington 4-1, got back on track against BYU. They're Chip Kelly at UCLA at the Rose Bowl 0-4, a 7:30 kickoff on Fox. Washington's favored by 21 at the Rose Bowl. It might be too early to ask. If UCLA starts out 0-5, is Chip Kelly on the hot seat, or will they give him a break this year, Big C? Your thoughts?
Oh, Charlton, he's going to get a break. Matter of fact, come Valentine's Day, they're going to send him a box of chocolate and one of those big kitty here.
No roses, though.
That's what they're going to do. Because, the thing with Chip Kelly, he gets the pass because there's not his players to play his type of system down there. That's what's going to be said. He inherited a program that was in shambles, and the players didn't fit his coaching style. So I wonder who's the person who hired him. Knowing that the players don't fit his coaching style.
Right.
Why do you bring a guy in that's like that? So, Chip Kelly will be around. He and Scott Frost both will dodge a lot of bullets all this year long, Charlton. And if either one of those coaches, Charlton, win 3 games, they'll be very, very lucky.
Well, I'm telling you, I think Jim Moore looking pretty good in the press box right now, broadcasting for Fox Sports. They might want to start calling him back, Big C. Couple more games. Fresno State 3-1 at Nevada 3-2. That game is 10:30 on ESPNU. Fresno split by 14 points. Cal Berkeley 3-1 at Arizona 2-3 on Fox Sports 1. A 10 o'clock kickoff. So Big C, you'll be asleep or even watching the McGregor-Khabib fight, Big C. And I look at it. Cal's favored by 2 down in the desert. Last game for college football before we hit the NFL. There's something about praying. People say if you want something, you got to pray. And like your good old friend said, we play to win the game. Well, at Notre Dame, they say we pray to win the game. They might need their prayers, Big C, because they're playing at a team that they have championship in their eyes. I don't think Virginia Tech is as talented as Notre Dame. But when you just had an emotional game against Stanford, and then you have a team that can make their season by knocking off Notre Dame at home, I want to get your thoughts. Number 7, Notre Dame, 5-0. At number 23, Virginia Tech, 3-1. 8 o'clock kickoff, ABC Sports. The Irish are only favored by 7, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Ian Book at quarterback, Charlton, gives the Irish an outstanding chance. If you look how he carved up that Stanford defense last week, Charlton, in that victory, and the week before that at Wake Forest, Charlton, he has proven his mettle, and this is going to be his 3rd game as a starter at Notre Dame, Charlton. Notre Dame has talent across the board. They do. They have the talent to compete with anybody in the country. But when you go down to Blacksburg, Virginia, Charlton, and you're playing Virginia Tech at home down there in that Bud Foster's defense that they have, Charlton, they're a formidable opponent for anybody. They can come out and they play that smash mouth football. That's that lunch bucket crew down there, Charlton. They give them a bologna sandwich and they're happy, okay?
I understand.
And so when they see what them Catholic boys at Notre Dame are eating, they might get a little ticked off, okay?
I hear they eat wine and cheese at Notre Dame, Big C. They have wine and cheese.
They might want to get into their lunch meal. This is going to be a hard-fought battle, Charlton. Virginia Tech is trying to stay in the hunt for the ACC. Notre Dame is trying to stay in the hunt for the bowl playoffs.
I'm telling you, the only mistake I see, and I think Notre Dame's going to win, but they got to strategize how they play. Why are you playing a night game against Virginia Tech when everybody's all liquored up and the crowd's going to be crazy? But that's just, to me, that's a trap game. I hope the Irish pull it off because football is much better when Notre Dame's on top. I do want to say sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you. I love NFL football, Big C. I love it so much. I've been watching it since I was a little boy. The Falcons 1-3 at the Steelers 1-2-1. That's a 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff on Eastern Time, Sunday on Fox Sports. The Steelers are favored by 3 at home. It's time they get a win, but do you have faith in Big Ben Roethlisberger, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he's going to have faith in himself. Big Ben has always questioned himself when the Steelers have struggled. His easy way out, I got to be more committed, or I don't know if I'm still have it left to play in this game. He knows how to cover for himself, Charlton. But when you look at this game, Charlton, it's even more about the 2 top receivers in this game. Well, it used to be top 2 receivers in the NFL. Antonio Brown and Julio Jones. When everybody looks around, everybody said they were 1A and 1B. As receivers. But you come in, Charlton, they're both ranked 9th in the NFL in receiving.
Wow.
They both have 29 receptions. So they haven't been the difference makers. And Julio Jones, he leads the league in yards, but Antonio Brown only has half the yards that Julio Jones had.
Yep.
So this is the reflection of what Ben Roethlisberger has not been able to do, Charlton.
Yep.
But even more of a reflection of how much they missed Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Because Le'Veon Bell opened up a lot of passes over the top for Antonio Brown because you could not put just a linebacker. You had to put a safety on Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
The Steelers are starting to realize that now. All that talk they did early in the season, who needs him? We don't want him. They're quietly talking around. They're texting me. I guarantee you, they're all texting me. Even on Instagram and everything, Charlton.
Yeah, that's funny, Big
But when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, Charlton, this is a team in desperation right now.
Yeah.
They're hosting the Super Bowl in their home stadium next year.
Yeah.
This season.
Yeah.
They may not be there other than spectators, Charlton. If they lose this game, Charlton, I really don't need to see how they can make the playoffs, Charlton, with the teams in their division, especially with Carolina and New Orleans.
Yeah.
And who knows what Tampa Bay might do once Jameis Winston come back.
When you look at the Steelers' defense in the last 3 games, they've given up 450, 455, and 451 yards. So they're about to give up another 450 if Ryan throws the ball more than he runs it. If they run the ball, they have a better chance at winning as opposed to Ryan throwing all the time. The Tennessee Titans 3-1, maybe the surprise of the NFL at the Buffalo Bills. They still playing football in Buffalo? I thought they moved I thought they moved that to a different part of the country. 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time Sunday. CBS Sports. The Titans are only favored by 5 up at Buffalo. Have the point spread guys seen Buffalo play this year? I think the Titans they might double up these guys. Big C, your thoughts?
Is there a forecast of snow or something in Buffalo?
It might be a snow job.
That's the only reason I can see this point spread, Charlton, being close in this game.
Yeah.
Because when you look at what Buffalo doesn't do, and that's move the ball offensively, Charlton. Tennessee, you think about Mike Vrabel. This is a defensive mind, their head coach. He's going to do all kind of things for Josh Allen, Charlton. He's going to blitz him. He's going to put some coverages out there that he's not used to seeing.
Yeah.
Mariota, Charlton, brings a headache to everybody with his mobility and throwing ability, Charlton. Ask the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
You're saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are not that much better than the Buffalo Bills?
Right. And I think Allen versus Mariota, I mean, come on, give me a break. Big C, the Broncos, 2-2 at the Jets. What's that spell? Hold on. The Jets. The Jets. That's who Sam Darnold played for. He just has to remember who he's throwing to because he's saying, do I throw to those guys or do I throw to the Jets? He has to figure out that Jets stands for the team he should be throwing to, Big C. I look at the Broncos with that great defense, 2-2 at the 1-3 Jets. 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff Eastern Time Sunday on CBS Sports. I'm going with the Broncos with their defense. I'm going with Von Miller over Sam Darnold in that game, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, Denver had an opportunity to beat Kansas City last week, Charlton, and they couldn't pull it out. There was a couple of wide-open plays that was missed by Case Keenum. He has to be able to exploit those opportunities if he gets them against the Jets.
Yeah.
And so this is a situation that Darnold is going to be under so much pressure. You think about it, he just came off a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Charlton, where they visit him frequently in the back.
They have frequent flyer miles.
He's going to get that same company this week, Charlton, playing the Broncos.
Yeah.
This is a game that the Broncos should handle business, Charlton, and get back on the winning track.
Well, speaking of a game of the winning track, the Jacksonville Jaguars 3-1 at the Chiefs 4-0. That's at Arrowhead Stadium in Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri. 1 o'clock kickoff, Big C, Eastern Time on CBS Sports. And the Chiefs are only favored by 3. And again, it's one of those, I know Ben Rames loves football from Pulp Fiction, but when the Chiefs, when you see what they've done to everybody, whether it's on the road or at home, to only be favored by 3 against Jacksonville. I know Jacksonville has a good team, but I don't think Bortles can compete with Mahomes. However, that defense that Jacksonville has, they're legit. I still think 3 points is too small, but again, Ben Rames doesn't call me, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, they're laying this line based on the game that you saw last week in Denver, where Denver gave Mahomes all that he could handle, Charlton, and not until the second half, once they made some adjustments to what Denver were doing, were they able to pull it out. But that adversity works well for a young quarterback, Charlton. It helps him grow up.
Yeah.
Blake Bortles has faced adversity his entire NFL career, and half that adversity, Charlton, has been his own self. And so that's what he has to worry about. You look at this Kansas City defense, Charlton, they have one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
So if Blake Bortles can get healthy in this game, Charlton, he can cause a lot of problems for Kansas City and create a tremendous shootout between he and Patrick Mahomes.
Well, in Bortles' last 13 road games, he's completed more than 20 passes only twice, so that's going to be a big thing coming up. The Ravens, surprise team, 3-1 at the Browns, 1-2-1, and LeBron James was telling the Browns, don't worry about it. He made a phone call to the Browns organization, and he said, Cleveland, you got robbed. In Oakland, that game still stings. It still stings because the NFL, if it wants to be a league that people respect, you got to clean up the officiating. That's just not right no matter whose side you're on. When the offensive linemen are diving at the ball for a fumble, and the referee said that he was down when he was standing up and the ball was knocked out of his hand, I know Cleveland has to get past that. Will they be able to get past at 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff Sunday Eastern Time on CBS Sports? The Ravens are favored by 3 at the Browns. That might still be smarting from their loss in Oakland. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at the Ravens, they don't give up more than 14 points a game defensively, okay?
Yeah, they're good.
This is a stalwart defensive team. Well, when you look at the Browns, Charlton, you can't go out and praise a quarterback that has 4 turnovers in a game.
No.
You normally lose those games, okay?
Exactly.
You don't do things to help your team win, and that's what Baker Mayfield had against the Raiders. He had 4 turnovers.
Yep.
He can't have 4. If he has 4 turnovers against the Browns, Charlton, people will start saying, where's Tyrod Taylor?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
If he does that against the Ravens, but what the Browns really need to do, Charlton, is put Nick Chubb in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen things from this young man every time he's been in the game. The rookie out of Georgia, the second-round draft pick, Charlton.
He's amazing.
To me, he shows to be the best quarterback, the best running back in the draft.
Yeah.
Better than Barkley, better than his running mate, Sonny Michel, who's in New England, who had a great game last night.
Yeah.
When you look at Nick Chubb, he touched the ball 3 times in Oakland. 2 of them were touchdowns.
Yep.
How do you keep that guy out of the lineup, Charles?
Vin Rames. The Packers 2-1 at the Lions 1-3. Sunday 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff Eastern Time on Fox. Big C. The Packers. There's no reason that the Packers should even have a problem with this game, other than Rodgers is a little bit banged up, and maybe they have that McCarthy-Rodgers thing. I don't even care about that, but they don't seem like the team they could have been. Maybe they're afraid to rush the passer now. I don't think Stafford is an issue because he doesn't have a winning record. But give me your feeling. Why would it be it's a pick'em game, Bixie? It doesn't make any sense. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a pick'em game because you don't have a mobile Aaron Rodgers, and the receiving core at Green Bay is all beat up.
Yeah.
They don't even know if they're going to have a receiver in this game, Charlton. Maybe Adams is the only guy that might be healthy for this game.
Yeah.
And when you got unhealthy receiving core and unhealthy quarterback, Charlton, nobody's really looked at Jimmy Graham. He hasn't, scared anybody this year going to Green Bay. He only has 1 touchdown reception.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford has been the epitome of inconsistency when you look at Detroit. It doesn't make any difference who's coaching him, Charlton. Now he's on his 3rd NFL head coach.
Yep.
He'll get a guy fired. He honestly will.
Yeah.
And Detroit, it's like Atlanta in a way on a lesser version.
Yeah.
You got all this money in the quarterback. He's the one that's got to throw the ball all the time, Charlton.
Yeah.
You're not looking to develop a running game, and that's what you need to do against Green Bay. Don't allow Aaron Rodgers to be on the field if you plan on winning the game. They kept Tom Brady off the field.
Yep.
They need to do the same with Aaron Rodgers.
That's a very good point, Bixie. And of all the teams they beat, it's just odd that they beat the Patriots. The Dolphins 3-1. At the Bengals 3-1, we saw what happened with Miami up at New England. They looked like they were just a shell of themselves, Big C. New England dominated that game. Now the Bengals are just as good as New England, in my opinion. That's a 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff Eastern Time on CBS Sports. The Bengals are favored by only 5 points. You think about Tannehill, and I don't know how they're going to say there's only a 5-point difference in that game when they had a hard time. I think they scored 7 points at New England, and then they had to fly back home. Now they got to fly up to Cincinnati. And the Bengals are a better team. I know they had that close win at Atlanta to close out, but I think they're a much better team than Miami. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the Bengals are missing some key players. Bernard is not going to play. He has a knee injury. You got Mixon coming back after having his knee scoped a couple weeks ago, Charlton, so they're down to a rookie running back.
Yeah.
You lose your tight end, Tyler Eifert, for the season with a broken ankle, Charlton. So there's going to be some gaps in that Cincinnati offense, but they do have 3 excellent wideouts.
Yeah.
Miami, they still could be stinging from that game against New England last week. Was it a psychological beatdown as well as a team beatdown, Charlton?
Yeah.
That's what. Can they bounce back from being handled in New England? If they can't, Charlton, New England has already dominated the East if Miami loses this game.
Well, Big C, I know a game that you're really looking forward to, not only because of all the shine that they have going on in Carolina. The Giants 1-3, at the Panthers 2-1. Cam Newton becomes he's maligned for whatever reason for winning, and then Manning is praised for whatever reason for losing. That's a 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Panthers are favored by 6.5. Can Eli avoid throwing interceptions? They know the answer is no, he can't avoid that. Can Carolina take advantage of the team that's going to turn the ball over at least once? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Carolina will put all kind of pressure on Eli Manning. This is a quarterback, Charlton. They know where he's going to be in the pocket.
Yeah.
Julius Peppers is still one of the top pass rushers in the NFL, even in his mid-30s at defensive end, Charlton. Eli Manning has a lot of weapons that he can't utilize.
Yeah.
It's not because of his offensive line, Charlton. He's not on the same page with these guys timing-wise. You think about on a check down route, when your back has to come to a complete stop and wait on the ball, you should hit him in stride.
Yeah.
And he has such speed demons on the outside, and Shepard and Beckham and Ingram at tight end, Charlton.
Yeah.
He can't get the ball to him.
Yeah.
Unless he's throwing checkup routes, Charlton, under 25 yards, he doesn't have the ability to get the ball to his receivers.
I tell you what,
He has developed as a weapon for Cam Newton.
Yep.
Cam Newton has to take control of this game, Charlton, with his arms and his legs, Charlton, to set a precedent and leave no doubt.
That's a good point, Big C. The Raiders 1-3, manufactured by the NFL, Big C, at the Chargers 2-2, Sunday 4:05 p.m. kickoff time, Eastern time on Sunday, CBS Sports. The Chargers are favored by 5. We talked about the Holy Roller, even though that was down at Jack Murphy Stadium. This is going to be in Carson. Give me your thoughts. Do they have enough favor by the league to go to 2-3? They would love to see John Gruden go to 2-3. The Chargers are a better team, and I don't know if Vin Rames made the trip because he might be down in Vegas watching the fight. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I look at the receiving core last week in Cleveland. The Raiders couldn't cover them.
No.
The Chargers have a much better receiving core than what Cleveland did, and a better quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that the Chargers may have been looking past the 49ers last week, Charlton, in looking to this game. And think about it. Does anybody know who's playing on the Raiders defense?
Wow.
But you think about this, John Gruden knows who's playing on San Diego's defense. He's calling out the players, saying he's drafted them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from a player's perspective, if my coach is recognizing defensive players from the other team and talking about, the guys we have, we should have cut them.
Yeah.
Why would I play for this guy, Charlton?
Yeah.
He's lost the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah, remember back in the day, there's that group, I think it was the OJ, she used to be my girl. And Gruden saying, I wish she was my girl, Big C. So sometimes you get what you're looking for. I want to say the Cardinals 0-4, they need to win big. They're at the 49ers 1-3, 4:25 kickoff Eastern time Sunday on Fox Sports. And the 49ers are favored by 4 against the Cardinals that have not had a win since last year, Big C. Your thoughts on the Niners having their second win this year?
Well, Charlton, if you look at what Josh Rosen did in that game, Charlton, he was spot on with his passing. He just needs a little more time and a little more help.
Yeah.
This is a game that's going to be a nail-biter. I don't know if the 49ers have more than what the Cardinals have. I mean, they're weak on the offensive line, the Cardinals, but Josh Rosen showed a lot of promise, above all the rookie quarterbacks last week, Charlton, with his accuracy of his passes.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. The Rams 4-0, maybe the number 1 team in the league. Them in Kansas City, they're looking at each other, Big C. They're at the Seahawks 2-2, which escaped by the skin of the teeth by a Janikowski field goal that the Raiders let go. That's a 4:25 kickoff Eastern time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Rams are favored by 7 in Seattle, a team that Arizona took to the wire. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think this is going to be just a pure offensive clinic by the Rams. When you look at how they carved up that Minnesota defense last week, Charlton, they create so many mismatches because they recognize what teams have lacking defensively. So they're able to create the mismatches with their receivers and their running backs, Charlton. And that's something that Seattle has had problems with. They just lost another linebacker, Kendrick. He was suspended for the rest of the year by the NFL. So that position has been really beat up.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is not getting any help from his offensive line. this will be a long day from him from that fearsome Rams front four.
Yeah, the Rams really have a great front four, Big C, but I just don't think the point spreads are paying a lot of attention to the team in Seattle that went down to Arizona and stunk it up. Maybe they don't like winning in that stadium. You know what happened when they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Vikings, you like that? You like that? 1-2-1 at the Eagles, 2-2. 4:25 p.m. kickoff Eastern Time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Eagles are favored by 3 over a team that can't win. Now, if you look at your cousin, Kirk Cousins, Big C, his last 2 games, he's thrown the ball 55 times and 50 times, and they lost. That might be a clue. Try to keep them under 35 passes, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you look at this. This is either the presence in the NFL or the future in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's what this game comes back down to, quarterback-wise.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is back. You know, you got to think about how well that Tennessee defense played last week.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins had his best game probably as a pro against the Rams last week and still could not win.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a history of high-powered games, Charlton, where he put up big numbers offensively and not being able to win. You know, Dalvin Cook probably will not be there, so they won't have that running game. That Eagles defense, Charlton, will get after him, and he will not be comfortable in the pocket. I like Carson Wentz and the Eagles in this game, Charlton.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, $84 million. You have 1 win. 1. Big C. The Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? 2-2 at the Texans. 1-3. So I don't know if they took the bus down to Houston. Jerry Jones, they probably took his private plane, chartered plane. But that is a great setup for the state of Texas. You have Oklahoma and Texas on college football Saturday, and then the in-state game, the Cowboys at the Texans. 1-3. It's a 8:20 kickoff p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday on NBC Sports. The Texans are favored by 3. Now, I know it's a close game, but to get a 3-point spread at home, Dallas doesn't have receivers. The quarterbacks will cancel each other out. And all's fair in love and war in Texas, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at Watson, he's gotten better each week. Dallas just can't get anything offensively going. When you got your quarterback and he's struggling to get 200 yards passing in the game, that's not on the quarterback, Charlton. That's on the lack of ability of the people that he's trying to throw to.
Yeah.
That they can't create separation, they can't get open. You also got to look at the head coach, Charlton.
Yeah.
There's no imagination in the Dallas offense. You know, when you look at the high-scoring teams in the NFL, Charlton, you look at the Rams, you look at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
There's some imagination in their offense with young quarterbacks, Charlton.
Yeah.
They give those guys opportunity to create big plays. You don't see that when Dallas plays. You don't see the route running, you know, with Dallas that you see in Kansas City and Los Angeles, Charlton.
Yep.
So, you know, I made the comment earlier about Jim Harbaugh in Michigan.
Very salient.
Jerry Jones is looking at him and salivating, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because Jason Garrett, this is his last hoorah in Dallas this year. He won't be around because you can't keep blaming everybody else and you can't come up with any imagination on offense. I like Houston in this game, Charlton.
Yeah, you think about the Cowboys, how great they are. It's been almost 2 decades since they've been to the Super Bowl, Big C. That's a shame for the organization. But Jerry Jones had Jimmy Johnson, and he chased him off because he didn't want to win without him being the guy, the head guy, Big C, what they call the head honcho. But that's Jerry Jones' fault. I do think that's a very great observation. If Harbaugh goes to Dallas, he has a guy that looks like Kaepernick and Prescott. I think that would be a nice marriage, Big C. It might last 3 or 4 years if Jerry can back off a little bit. The final game on Monday Night Football. Everybody, what they say, get your popcorn ready because you're about to see one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. In fact, in the history of the universe, in Drew Brees. He sets records. He's a team leader. He never gets in trouble. When they had the hurricane problems down there in Louisiana, that good boy was at the forefront in helping people and being a face of hope for the community. The Redskins 2-1 at the Saints 3-1. That's an 8:15 Eastern Time kickoff. Monday Night Football, ESPN. The Saints are favored by 6. Big C, I don't know if there is enough moonshine to keep people happy down there. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is going to be a very interesting game. The Redskins have a much better defense than anyone gives them credit for. They're ranked in the top 3 in the NFL.
Yeah.
But you got Drew Brees, Charlton, who's always chasing history. Everyone talks about he's 201 yards away from the NFL all-time yardage record. Charlton, he's only 4 touchdowns away from reaching 500 and chasing Tom Brady in that market, which Tom eclipsed last night.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you look at Drew Brees and what he does, not only that, You're going to get Adrian Peterson coming back to New Orleans where he and Sean Payton had a fallout last year.
Yeah.
So how will he perform controlling the ball on the ground for the Redskins? We know that Alex Smith can get the ball to his receivers. New Orleans is not great defensively. I expect to see a pure shootout, Charlton. I would not be surprised to see both teams score over 30 points in this game, and Drew Brees getting the record yardage-wise and his 500 touchdown pass, and the New Orleans pull out a victory.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that game. I just want to close with last night's game because you talked about Luck, you talked about Brady, and one guy was supposed to replace the next guy. It was supposed to be Luck take over for Brady as America's favorite quarterback. Brady, again, milestone game last night. 500 touchdowns, Big C. That's incredible. That just keeps doing it, and he's been suspended so many times for Deflategate and then other injuries. He'd have about 510 touchdowns if it wasn't for people stepping in and blaming him for deflating football. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you look at what Brady did last night, Charlton, he hit everybody that wanted to catch a football. I mean, he tossed the ball to everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of greatness, Charlton, and unselfishness.
Yeah.
He had a full complement of receivers last night for the first time in a game this season, Charlton.
Yeah.
And everybody they trotted out on the field caught a pass. They took advantage of the situation. Everybody counts them out when they lose a couple games early in the season.
Right.
It's not uncommon.
Right.
They got to get everybody on the same page. You think about they're getting Gordon into the offense. They got Ellerman back last night, Charlton.
Yep.
Sonny Michel's a rookie who was just picking up this offense, Charlton. This is a team that's getting better and better as the weeks go on.
Yep.
And that's what scares the NFL. They're down a couple of weeks, Charlton. All of a sudden, they're back on the top of the heap all over again.
Yeah, that's
this is a team that's going to get back to where they need to be, Charlton. But when you look at the Colts last night, Andrew Luck, in his last two games, has thrown the ball 120 times.
Wow.
That's ridiculous for an NFL quarterback.
It's selfish.
120 throws, Charlton, in 2 games.
It's selfish.
That does a lot of things to demoralize everybody, Charlton.
Yeah.
Nobody, we talked about nobody knows who the Oakland Raiders defense is. No one knows who the Colts receivers are. You talked a lot about quarterbacks giving back some money so teams can draft players and put quality players in an organization. The Colts don't have any money, Charlton.
I know.
They had a tight end that caught 2 touchdowns last night, Charlton. They brought him off the street.
Yeah.
He came off the practice roster. He came off the practice roster and caught 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They have nobody to help Luck. Luck has looked spectacular. He's not pushing the ball way down the field, Charlton. But the passes that he throws are pinpoint. I saw 6 balls that he threw last night, Charlton.
Yeah.
They were just flat out dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing he could have done better was walk up and put the ball in the receiver's hand.
Yeah.
Here's a team that, you constantly have to fight from behind. You got your quarterback having to throw too many passes, Charlton.
Yeah.
You think about any other quarterback in the NFL having to throw 60 passes every time his team walks out on the field just to be competitive.
Yeah.
That lets me know that management doesn't have a clue, Charlton.
No, they sure don't have a clue. It's all fair and love and war. Last thing, Seattle. We've been talking about a great state in Washington, great city, Seattle, up there to the sound. They have an exhibition game tonight. It's sold out. The Sacramento Kings playing the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant was drafted by Seattle's franchise, Big C. I know it's preseason, but what does it mean to that region, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's bringing the NBA back. An organization that left almost a decade ago, Charlton, from that city. A proud city sports-wise, Charlton, that has won championship.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's gone. The NHL, Charlton, is holding a vote this weekend to bring the National Hockey League to Seattle.
Yeah.
Which would be a great rivalry with the Vancouver Canucks at about a 4-hour drive away.
Yep.
And so if you bring the NHL back, Charlton, why can't you bring the NBA back? I know they're going to remodel Key Arena, Charlton.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be up to NBA standards, and the NBA will put a vote in soon to see about bringing a team back to that region, Charlton.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We covered Friday Night Lights on Big C Sports. There's a big fight down in Las Vegas that a lot of people are all excited about, especially the guys that do the point spread and the betting. They're all excited about something. I don't know. There's a lot of Vin Rames sighting down in Las Vegas. Big C, we'll have to see if they'll make Pulp Fiction Part 2. But I think they killed everybody off in the first one, Big C. Back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, Young Man Rumble, Big C. What are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Johnson, we've had some exciting games in the first 2 days of the Major League playoffs. They have me ecstatic. I mean, I can sit back and see something that's at my pace that doesn't move too fast in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
This game tonight, Charlton, between the Yankees and the Red Sox is what baseball lives for, Charlton.
Yeah.
To have the best teams in the professional sport playing each other.
Yeah.
The best markets for baseball in the major leagues, Charlton.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the Red Sox-Yankees best-of-5 series.
Well, we're all excited about so many things happening in the sports universe. Please be safe outside. If you're going to drink, please don't drive. Everybody enjoy a great weekend and have lots of fun. And especially on Monday, follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, as we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage all on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.